So the way I wanted to begin this video is to mention that we all know that there are people out there who like to talk a lot and they end up saying nothing. And then there are those people who rarely say anything, but when they do, fuck, you better be paying attention to absolutely everything they say. Hello YouTubers, this is the noobifier. Welcome to the launch of Thrustmaster's planned evolution, beginning with Project AVA. I've used and tested a lot of joysticks over the years. It won't surprise anyone to find out that I've been very lucky to have seen versions of Project AVA as it developed over the past years. In 2010, Thrustmaster became the standard to measure others by with the release of the Warthog, which at the time was an update to the already iconic Cougar. In 2012, VKB began making products, and initially it had a very small effect within the joystick market. Later in 2015, Virpil launched its first MT50, and also initially this too had a very small effect within the joystick market. Despite Thrustmaster having a huge impact on the entry market with its T16000M and later with its commercial jet controllers, Thrustmaster's flagship has remained mostly untouched since launch. And as VKB, Virpil, and WinWing have added new products and evolved, the landscape within the top-tier joystick market has changed. So when Thrustmaster decided to release a new flagship, not only would it need to improve upon their already iconic design, but this new product would also need to account for and compete against a growing collection of other top-tier and now community-trusted products. An unenviable task, but hopefully, as I will demonstrate, one that they've taken very seriously and one that I actually feel they were successful with. Competition is great for all of us, and it's great to see an icon reborn for 2014. Probably don't need to introduce the Warthog very much, but I do need to explain why it wasn't a simple task to design its successor. This often polarizing gimbal was first to set a bar for quality. I have my own personal opinions about very heavy grips, but there is no doubt something quite satisfying when you pick that up, that all-metal Warthog grip for the first time. And if I was asked to update this legacy stick, I would begin by drafting up a quick list of the common, more known issues with the original Warthog. It's clear that the design team began the design process with the aim of addressing these issues. The Warthog's all-plastic gimbal is redesigned in favor for an all-metal gimbal on the AVA. The Warthog's ball and spring and cone type return system is redesigned in favor of a per-axis cam and spring setup. The no user adjustable tension on the Warthog has been addressed with a per-axis preload. The no user adjustable curves on the Warthog has been addressed with interchangeable cams, and then the team would also need to explore a long targeted list of new features that we, the community of sim enthusiasts, now have come to expect as standard in 2024. And they even added a new one in the form of a deflection mask. AVA gimbal arrives shipped in a boxed box, and it's all supported inside. On the inside, there's your membership card with its own UPC code, and then speaking with the team, the club is also the way that you're going to be able to gain access to factory custom replacement parts, for example, different colored deflection collars, themed gimbal covers, and the metal ring at the top. They also have plans to change that to different colors and stuff like that. The point is, their products will arrive to you safely no matter how much energy drink the delivery driver has consumed that day. The exterior of the packaging nicely covers the features and also explains the name. AVA for aviation, yes, but the acronym stands for Advanced Versatile Aviation. In the box you have a gimbal, it has a metal base with an ABS cover. It's very narrow, quite short, and extremely compact. Compact is obviously important because it allows this to be easily added into very complex or cluttered setups with many MFDs. Compact is also ideal if mounted in a middle stick position. Compact is compatible with a restricted desk mount configuration, and it's also easier to add to a simulation rig. In the box you have 3 deflection collars labeled small, medium, and extra large. This would lead me to believe that there might be a large that was tested, but the community might actually be more interested in extra small first, as I will explain. The extra large mask opens up the gimbal to 43 degrees in both X and Y. I'm going to say this is likely the largest range of any joystick that's available on the market. The medium opens up to 36 degrees and the small limits deflection to 30 degrees. For comparison, the original Warthog and the T16000M both have a much more limited 20 degrees of deflection. So that's why I say extra small or even extra small would replicate the other Thrustmaster products and also match the competition, because the Virpil CM gimbals are 16 degrees, the Warbird D is 22 degrees, the VKB Gunfighter Mark II is 20 degrees. So AVA has a much larger range, and because Thrustmaster has already indicated a release plan for upgrades to AVA, imagine how simple it would be just to go onto Amazon and add an extra small deflector in the future to the cart and get it the next day. Imagine pairing cams, springs, and collars as a set that represents the actual limit of a real plane like an F-18 or a stick based on a commercial jet like an Airbus. I did experience great benefits to having a larger deflection when flying. If all things are equal, by expanding the base deflection from 20 to 30 degrees, it will result in a much better performance once you've become used to it. Your hand input in theory would be able to be 1/3 more precise or acquire aim 1/3 more quickly because of the extra range. And 1/3 is for the smallest option over the Warthog, so by testing the large ones, you may actually prefer them. I believe my hand-eye input and muscle memory are very good or above average, and I didn't expect this deflection to matter so much. Remember that the sum of all parts is what you feel. All of the variables are at play when testing and evaluating a new stick, but I now see this as a massive advantage to AVA and why I covered it first. There are some hardcore pilots who would insist that 30 is too much, so my hopes is that an extra small 25 or even a 20-degree deflection collar is possible, and no doubt you will see some creative builders out there push a 3D printer file onto Thingsverse in no time. AVA is the only one to offer this deflection tuning so easily. The collar is held in place on the gimbal body, you remove the grip, remove 8 Allen bolts, change out, reattach the ring, and then attach the grip. The process is done in about 90 seconds, and before we move on, it's time to highlight the lack of a rubber dust boot on AVA. A dust boot rarely presents an issue, however, in some applications where the user may want to tune for a very light tension, the attached dust boot adds resistance and actually becomes part of the spring feel. By eliminating the dust boot in favor of a different design, all of the return forces you receive will only come from the cams and the spring. And this has been a deliberate design choice that you can see on all Thrustmaster sticks carried into AVA. Also in the box, you have 2 cam choices and 3 spring choices. Jet and Arrow are your choices that will tune the center bump and deflection curve differently. Imagine in the future with enough community interest if Thrustmaster might be willing to commission a flatter bump feel for the AVA cam, perhaps more geared towards space. The AVA was designed in such a way to allow for tuning to be done with the least amount of teardown. With the grip removed, release 4 Allen bolts, which releases the cover and exposes the complete gimbal for tuning. There's no need to remove AVA from its mounts, there are no internal wires that can get bound, or small plugs that you need to be concerned about damaging. Removing the cover in this way takes less than 60 seconds. It recently became clear to me when reviewing the FC Tech Evo that it's actually very easy to rush a product to release. You can completely ruin or completely invalidate years of effort just by missing some small details. Some things can completely ruin a great gimbal, and they are flex between the grip and the gimbal, flex between the gimbal and the base, flex between the base and the mounting solution, inconsistency or drops in the sensor reporting, but the worst oversight is when there's a lack of care in producing the machined parts. The point where the cam and the roller make contact is where all the magic happens. The material here needs to be durable and machined to the highest precision and polish. Production costs can go up quickly, so a company might be tempted to make a good enough release instead of the actual best. And over testing AVA during the last 18 months, I watched as changes in the choice of material and improvements in manufacturing evolved. Care is being made in an effort to get this perfect, and it's even more important on the AVA as the cams are relatively small in this compact design. It is even more worrying when considering the type of torque loads that some pilots may expect from it. So with that in mind, over the years, along with the focus on accuracy, my durability testing has always included portions using a 200mm extension combined with the hardest springs dialed into 11. The very earliest versions of testing cams exhibited signs of wear under this extreme testing, so revisions were made to the materials in the process, resulting in the production cams milled and polished from 316. So as a consumer, I was so very happy when they decided to incorporate this, knowing that it might add to the cost of production. The hardest material ground and polished to a mirror finish is held firmly in place with a single Allen bolt and a pair of register pins. In my opinion, choosing quality over the margin will always save money in the long run, and you have fewer RMAs and end up with a better reputation. The cam roller bearing is attached to a metal arm that moves on its own bearing pivot, and tension is held by your choice of spring. As part of owning a gimbal in this price and quality range, you are expected to tune and adjust to get the performance that you need. Based off my explanation of how important the cam surface is, when changing the cams for testing, please fully release the spring before releasing the cam to prevent damage to the high polished surface. The entire point, or the so what, is when moving AVA through the range of motion, I feel nothing. Nothing extra, no bumps in the hand, no clicks, no flex. Even when the gimbal bottoms out against the collar, you just get a satisfying positive thud. Included are 3 spring choices, soft, medium, and hard. And along with these, there is a spring preload adjustment for each axis, and that's accessed from the top through the cover, equally accessible when the covers are moved, and you have very fine adjustments that can be made quickly. As a rule, if you're applying close to the full range of the preload system, it might be time to seek out a higher base spring. Very heavy grips combined with extension tubes also benefit from much stronger springs. AVA was designed to be able to support this out of the box, but in my testing it was also able to provide a light return and feel. Internally, there are 2 final features to cover, and then we can talk about the overall value and the impressions. Dampeners are the newest features that are being added to higher-end gimbals, and they can serve several functions. Simply to control and normalize some unwanted grip backlash, and more advanced would be to operate as what's known as a dead stick. Backlash is not the end of the world, and it can be easily controlled by slight intervention from a good dampener. Acting like a shock absorber, the dampener is attached to each main axis to help stabilize your grip to neutral. The AVA tuned dampener will not interfere with small precision movements that are needed for basic flight. And then when making quick changes, its lighter tuning isn't even felt by the user. I found the dampener adds greatly to the stable feeling when used, but because it's removable, it's up to you to test with or without it. The included dampener is not adjustable, and it's not intended to create a dead stick. AVA will address this in the future with a release of an adjustable metal dampener, and specifically for dead stick, a future release of a dead stick conversion kit, which would be good for helicopter or omni-throttle pilots. The greatest benefit of a tunable gimbal system is your ability to make it behave exactly the way you want. Would-be buyers may at first be put off at the prospect of having to take apart their brand new gear, so I was very pleased that the base spring and cam tune was done in such a way that you can just use it out of the box. This is normally true within the industry, but if you're currently using a Warthog, you will have a mostly seamless transition over. Perhaps you may need to add or subtract a quarter turn to the spring tension. The base has the same mounting holes, so your Warthog mount is still compatible. The grip collar is basically the same as the Warthog, being backwards compatible with legacy sticks, but I did notice that it was updated, likely to support a new line of grips in the future. The drop-in and twist mount is so much easier than the pull-out wire that we will see on Virpil. With Virpil, that extra step does let you rotate the grip 360 degrees, which you cannot do on AVA, but AVA has an optional short extension collar that's available, and with it you can clock plus 15, minus 15, and 0 degrees. Thrustmaster was the first to add non-contact high-resolution magnetic sensors to the industry, so it's no surprise that AVA is also equipped with Hall effect sensors. Like all other high-end gimbals, the AVA is able to detect my blood as it's pulsing through my hands. Is that an important feature? No, but along with how much care was taken to eliminate the flex, the free play, and the feel, the sensor is right up there with the best. There's no detectable dead zone ever, and when flying you get a true analog feeling because your slightest inputs are detected and then applied to your flight. So, is it good? Is it a worthy successor of the flagship Warthog? And most importantly, did Thrustmaster create a product to answer the current competition? If this product is the beginning of a full range update, then I'm going to say I'm very excited to see what's next. AVA addresses quality, durability, and performance in a $300 price point, and Thrustmaster, their global footprint lists on Amazon, so it would ship for free with Prime, something to consider. I feel the price point provides those who want a refresh to the Warthog a good value. I feel the price point provides a compelling high-end alternative, which is nice to see. It's time to consider Thrustmaster again when in the market for premium joysticks with the release of AVA. I would say that it's a very strong showing from Thrustmaster and a worthy flagship replacement to the iconic Warthog. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. These types of videos take a lot of time to get correct. And in this case, 18 months. So if you got something out of it, please share it with a friend or a fellow sim enthusiast. I value your critical feedback to better inform and create better content in the future. Don't be shy. I can take it. Please comment your comments with your comments. What you think of this product? Do you feel AVA is a good update? What's the next thing that you would like to see from Thrustmaster? Fly safe.